So excited to be sharing today's video. In today's video, I'm gonna be sharing an awesome story of abundance that happened to me and how it can help you. But before we do, in last video, I shared with you how a daily discovery totally lifts my vibe. Today, I'm gonna show you a park I recently discovered and I think it's gonna lift your vibe. The park's called City of Kunming Park, and I guess it's a Denver sister city to a Chinatown some 7,000 miles away. What I love though, check out these three awesome like stone pyramid type rocks. Then if you look a little bit further west, you have the mountains. I'll kind of zoom in. You got the spider on the White House over there. I just come here and I just sit right in the middle of those rocks. Beautiful, isn't it? Okay, story time. And actually I had to walk away from the park because the leaf blowers just arrived. Stuff was about to get real. Anyway, Saturday night, I'm working. As I told you, I work in a restaurant, and these two ladies come in, and you can tell right off the bat, like they've had way too much fun. Maybe a little too much drinky, maybe a little too much smoky. They've had a good time, which taking care of people like that is not always fun, but I'm a professional, so I play the game, I give them a good time. Finally, they get ready to leave, and guess what? They forgot to sign their credit slips, which means I don't get paid. Not fun. Now, what I haven't told you though is just by chance, Monica, one of the women, and the only reason I know her name is because when they sat down, she's like, "That's Rachel, I'm Monica, just like friends." I was like, oh God, whatever. So, but she had left her wallet underneath the table. So I found the wallet, I brought it to Mac, and I'm like, oh cool, now we've got a little bit of leverage, right? Because now she has to come back to the restaurant. So he takes the wallet, he puts the slips with it, and he's like, I'm gonna leave it at the hotel front desk. When she comes, it's kind of like a little reminder like, hey, hopefully you can tip your server. Anyway, it's the end of the night, I do my paperwork, have a drink, and say goodbye, and then end up having a fantastic weekend. Like, I totally forget about it. Then though, on Tuesday, I'm like, oh yeah, I wonder if she came back. So I go over to Mac and I'm like, okay, day of reckoning, are people good or are they not good? And he hands me a manila envelope, I open it, and I pull out a $20 bill, which the check was 90. So my first thought is like, okay, maybe it could have been a little bit more, but you know what? She came back. That's the important part. And she left cash. Super cool. I'm happy. I continue on my night. An hour later, Mac comes by and he goes, hey, he holds up a $20 bill. And I'm like, what's that for? And he goes, might be from Monica. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. So I'm like, oh my God. So now the 20 has jumped to 40 on a $90 bill. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So now I'm like, wow, and I feel super ecstatic. I'm walking to the restaurant like this. Then an hour later, I'm kind of busy. He comes over and he goes, hey. He shows me another $20 bill, like, what's that? And he gets a smile on his face and he's like, Monica. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, I told you she was generous. And I look at him like, oh my God, now I'm up to $60 on that $90 check. Then at the end of the night, I'm closing out and he goes, hey, Brian. And I'm like, no. Okay, now you're just playing with me. He's like, no, I'm not. The funny thing is, she actually went over to the hotel. She had a $100 bill. She made change. She gave me the 420s and then she kept the 20, which is kind of funny because she could have just given me the $100 bill, right? But then I don't know if I would have appreciated it the same. And I think even Mac felt that because he's like, hey, I hope you don't mind how I did it. I was just kind of giving you the 20 at a time so you could really appreciate how generous she was. And I was like, no, I actually thought that was super cool. Now we're talking $80 on a $90 check. And that's what I love about the story of abundance. Had I went home that weekend and I've been like hemming and hawing like, oh, I can't believe she didn't tip me. Like I just lost 20 bucks, like focusing on my loss, then I guarantee she never would have came in and dropped the money. Or maybe if she had, it wouldn't have been 80. Maybe she would have left 10 or 20. But it was my gratitude in the moment with the 20, like, oh, 20, that's awesome. And then when I got 40, I was like, Oh, wow, 40, that's even awesome. But I never stopped to consider, oh, I wonder if he's gonna give me more. Like that thought never crossed my mind. Instead, I was always just happy like, oh my God, I got 20. Oh my God, I got 40. Oh my God, I got 60, 80. Are you messing with me now? And that's what I love about abundance. When you really believe in it, when you really live like you have everything and you don't need anything, everything else is just a bonus, more comes into your life. 20, 20, 20, a little bit of grass. I mean, how cool is that? Anyways, that's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Big love to you, and we'll see you in the next video.